So welcome. Thank you all for joining for United Way of Greater Greensboro's executive briefing today. We're excited about this format. My name is Scott Baker and currently serve as a local president of TowneBank. I'm a member of United Way's board of directors, and for the last 2 years, I have been volunteering as United Way's campaign chair. Today, we're going to provide a brief United Way state of the community, if you will, to provide a little context around why United Way is focused on ending local poverty, its strategy to do so, and the latest outcomes. Then we're going to have a panel discussion with a few local business leaders who have aligned their corporate social responsibility programs with United Way's work. And then ultimately, we want to hear from you, questions, things that you've thought about, you'd like to get some answers to. The intention is to educate and inspire you to continue your support of United Way. We know we have a very friendly audience in this session, but we also want to make sure that we're being transparent. You're hearing about how things are progressing, and you might be able to learn some things today and discover new ways how you can help create a lasting impact in our community. So we're going to be respectful of your time, as I mentioned. Because we know everyone here is very busy, and so we'll stick to our timeline. And if we can wrap up early, we will. And so we're going to jump right in and get started. I'm going to hand things over to Nadine Malpass, a name that you have certainly seen in the news recently with her recent appointment. So Nadine, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Scott. I cannot stress enough how grateful we are to have you on our board of directors. Your leadership as campaign chair has really challenged us to look at our partnerships with local corporations and individual investors differently, including helping us to convene today's briefing. And to everyone in today's meeting, we're extremely grateful for your partnership, and we could not reach our local children, adults, and families who need our collective support without your partnership. Today, we hope you leave knowing that your support is making a difference and that your continued partnership will create a for us all. Before we provide context on why your support is needed and share our collaborative outcomes, we want to give you a quick business update and share an overview of our strategy to end local poverty. As Scott mentioned, my name is Nadine Malpass, and I'm currently serve as United Way interim CEO. If you have not heard, Kari Garvin, our immediate past president and CEO's last day with United Way was March 3rd. Kari answered the call from the White House and accepted a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to become the National Director of Head Start, a program that provides early educational opportunities to low-income children. Kari led regional Head Start programs before he started with United Way, and this is a political appointment, gives him an opportunity to continue his passion of working with anti-poverty programs on a national level within the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. We're excited for Kari, but I'm here to tell you that your United Way is still in very good hands while our board conducts a national search for our next CEO. Rest assured that the staff at United Way will not skip a beat, and we will continue to create, connect, and lead community partners that equip and empower people to leave poverty. I've personally served as United Way's Chief Development Officer for the past 7 years. And speaking from experience, I can tell you that between the leadership of our board, our innovative senior leadership team, and our gifted staff, we are continued with our strategic work to end local poverty. As Scott mentioned today, we have a discussion around how United Way can support your local corporate social responsibility programs. Before we do, we wanted to provide you with a quick overview on our strategy to end local poverty and our latest mid-year outcomes to give you a real sense of what United Way is doing in your community. Most of you are aware that our single focus is to end local poverty, but why? In Guilford County, nearly 69,000 people are living in poverty. 52,000 people live in the United Way of Greater Greensboro service area. The federal government defines poverty as a family of 4 making $30,000 or less. That is an extremely low threshold. And for context, Guilford County, a family of 4, would need to make a combined $66,000 to be what is considered self-sufficient. That means the same household would make $66,000 a year to pay for bare necessities without receiving any subsidized assistance. How many more thousands of households do you think fall into this category of being just over that poverty threshold and not far from self-sufficient? Excuse me. Guilford County School reports a student poverty rate of 63%. 63%. With a total population of nearly 70,000, that means 44 local youth are living in poverty throughout Guilford County. 44 local youth. Adults are working 2 jobs and still not making ends meet. Children are going to bed and arriving at school hungry, which makes it hard for them to concentrate. All this produces a vicious cycle of poverty that is hard to break. Poverty is not only for families, but also for businesses. Poverty increases crime rate, reduces local job pools, and despite recent wins in landing some very impressive companies like Boom, high poverty rates still stall business growth. We want to break the cycle of poverty on a generational level. We want to secure a better future for all of us. And to do this, not only do we need your continued collaborative support, but we also need a strong strategy. Fortunately, I believe United Way has a strong strategy. I believe we do a great job in our messaging and sharing our work, but meetings like this give us a chance to share our strategy on a personal level. You might be aware that United Way creates, connects, and leads community partnerships that equip and empower people to leave poverty. But we want to share a little bit more of what that means. Every year, local nonprofits apply to join our strategy to end local poverty. And every year, local volunteers select the best of the best partner programs that align with our strategies to receive grant funding. Last year, UWGG created 31 strategic partnerships and initiatives that are supporting over 61 programs across the entire community. But we're not just about raising money and passing it out. Our first step is to evaluate a program and an initiative is to determine where it fits into our overall framework. Poverty relieving. These partnerships help people find and stay on pathways out of poverty. Poverty ending. These are partnerships that offer people clear ways to increase their income above the poverty threshold. And systems change. Specifically, our strategy builds pathways out of poverty by helping youth transition from cradle to career, helping adults land jobs and increase income, and providing access to basic needs and healthcare. Now let's look a little deeper. What does it mean by cradle to career? Ensuring children and youth hit milestones from the time they are born until they find a career on the path to leaving generational poverty. We want children ready for school and reading on grade level by age 8. We want children and youth ready for success in school and work life. When we invest in early education, health and development, and literacy efforts for children and caregivers, we invest in academic support in college and career readiness for children and youth. What do we mean by employment and financial stability? By helping adults get on a path and move over the poverty line through employment, educational attainment, and safeguarding income and assets building. Adults gain employment, increase income so that their households move out of poverty. We want these households to maintain their progress by safeguarding income and growing assets to financial stability. So we invest in employment, education attainment, growing assets, reducing costs, and obtaining benefits, and child care scholarships that children are in high quality care while adults work and attend school. What do we mean by basic needs? Addressing households' foundational needs, keeping individuals and families on the path out of poverty. We invest in housing that provides people adequate, safe, and affordable housing or shelter, provide personal safety, and gain access to physical and behavioral health care, including healthy food. Additionally, we lead successful community-wide initiatives. Our early childhood initiative, Thriving at 3, focuses on preparing kids to be successful when they enter school and includes early literacy programs like Raising a Reader. Our Raising a Reader program helps families develop and practice and maintain shared reading routines critical to early learning successes. Our Mentoring Matter initiatives focus on pairing caring adults with a youth to provide coaching and support. These also include our African American Male Initiatives, which creates milestones for mentors and mentees relationships for local African Americans and Hispanic youth. The program serves and follows youth at Wiley Elementary, Jackson Middle, and Smith High School. Our integrated service delivery approach, or ISD. ISD bundles and sequence services to meet an individual's needs. ISD is a research-based and proven strategy to equip and empower people to leave poverty. Our Family Success Centers and Guilford Success Networks utilize ISD strategies. Family Success Centers partners with families to support their transition from poverty into financial stability through personalized coaching and services, all offered in a central location. At these centers, for an adult, for example, can earn a GED, connect with employment, and their children are provided educational focused quality childcare. Guilford Success Network is a county-wide mobile-friendly network that connects people and serves providers to multiple supports, including local coordinators. These coordinators help people identify, track, and achieve their personal goals, including goals of leaving poverty. That's our strategy. So as you can see, there are multiple ways United Way's single issue of ending local poverty can align with your CSR efforts. Now, before I send things back to Scott, as each of you know, a strategy is only as good as the outcomes it produces. All United Way funded programs and initiatives are required to produce and report outcomes. We have recently shared our first ever public mid-year outcome report, and I'm excited to share a few highlights of our accomplishments. Combined, your support has resulted in thousands of children, adults, and families receiving support and services over the past 6 months. But I want to move beyond sharing about output totals and share a few true outcomes. Let's look at some of these outcomes. For birth to 8, we want children ready for school and reading on grade level by age 8. That starts with maternal health. We want children and youth ready for success in school, work, and life as we invest in programs focused on academic successes, colleges, careers, and social emotional learning. We want to make sure adults are supported along the path to employment that can lift the family out of poverty. We want households to maintain their progress by safeguarding their income and growing assets for financial stability. In addressing people's fundamental needs, we are following the outcomes. As you may have heard, United Way strategy is also focusing on helping people achieve our bold goal. To take our efforts of ending poverty to the next level, we announced this bold goal in 2021. The goal was developed with a diverse group of over 2,000 stakeholders representing multiple backgrounds and gives our community something to rally behind. The bold goal, as a community united in equity and lasting solutions, 3,000 households in Greater Greensboro will leave generational poverty by 2030. Since announcing the bold goal, we've added a new data tracking element to our strategic partnerships requirement and set pacing goals to help 50 households leave poverty by the end of 2023, 350 households by the end of 2024, and 1,000 households by the end of 2025. Thanks to your support, as you can see, we have far exceeded our pacing goal to help 50 households by the end of this year. This is what United Way is doing in your local community. When you align your corporate social responsibility priorities with our strategy, you can rest assured that you are partnering with an organization that is producing real local results and with real local people. Scott, this concludes our strategy and outcomes update. Are you ready to talk about CSR?
I am. Thank you, Nadine. That was an excellent overview of our strategy. I will say for everyone here on the call, a couple highlights. When you hear 62.9% of our youth in Guilford County schools are suffering with poverty, 44,000 students, that's just an alarming number. And so this effort is just really important for the betterment of our community. And I know a lot of us on this call have privileges and opportunities in life, and we want to make sure that we're giving those same opportunities to those youth for the next generation. So, but there's a lot of work to do, obviously, as you're hearing that, and I think it's pretty obvious. United Way is doing what it takes and has what it takes to support a local business's corporate social responsibility focus. As you hear us mention CSR, that corporate social responsibility, employees and customers alike are looking, to align themselves with companies that are recognizing the greater need beyond just their activity as a entity in and of itself. And personally, as president of TowneBank, I can tell you, our employees have a strong commitment to supporting the local community and supporting United Way's efforts to end local poverty. And as a bank, our executive directors and employees are active volunteers and serve on numerous boards. Many of them were those that are aligned with United Way in various means, and we're proud to do so because of the impact that these people are making. And over the years, Town has grown throughout Virginia, North Carolina. We never lost sight of the importance of just being a continued community asset. You hear our tagline a lot, serving others, enriching lives, but it really comes full circle when we're active in the community, giving of our time, our resources, maybe helping make connections between entities in order to betterment for the whole. And I know all of you have that same mentality, and that's what we're trying to drive to and help make sure that our resources are aligned to accomplish the results we're wanting to do. United Way aligns perfectly with that and local mission and community focus so much that last year, we even reached out to United Way and had them be a part of one of our commercials because we wanted to emphasize what United Way was trying to do with the bold goal and the needed impact we had in our community. And hopefully some of you saw that. Although, as I always say, I have a face for radio and a voice for print, but they put me in it anyway. United Way is just a group that is focused strategically on solving these, and we're just proud to share our partnership. And because I just mentioned our customers and potential customers, we want to know we are making a difference in the community. We want those who associate with Town to know that it's not just about Town, it's about helping them and helping the community at large that we serve, and that's really important to us. So, but we're not the only one that's doing it, and we're going to get a chance to hear today from 4 additional business leaders who represent 4 powerhouse companies in our local community and have worked with United Way for decades and have just made tremendous impacts. As I introduce them, I'll ask each of them individually to share how their CSR strategies align with United Way. So I'm going to give the names and then we'll start into that panel discussion. Michelle Duderman, who is the Senior Vice President of Human Resources with ITG, who happens to also be the current Vice Chair of United Way's Board of Directors and is leading the search for United Way's next CEO. It feels like we've obviously done a great job hiring past CEOs as they have gone on to accomplish great things, not only for our community, but being tapped for additional resources beyond. So I'm confident about our next steps there. Jana Barrett, National Director, Education and Assistant Vice President for Corporate Contributions with Lincoln Financial Group. And Grant Ozipko, Head of Technical Services at Syngenta, who is also a United Way board member and serves on United Way's Marketing and Communications Committee with us. And Nikita Green, Chief Inclusion Officer at Cone Health and another fellow United Way board member. So you can see Cone Health, Syngenta, Lincoln Financial, ITG, there's some pretty strong corporate support with United Way, and we're thankful for that. So good morning to each of you. Thank you for taking time out this morning and scheduling the time for this. And so before we open it up for questions, I have one simple question for each of you. What is your CSR, corporate social responsibility, and how is it aligned with United Way? And so, Michelle, I'd like to start with you, if that's okay.
Sure. Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Scott. Really, the United Way's bold goal aligns very well with our CSR strategy, particularly our strategy around people and planet, which is about supporting the communities around the world where we do business. And then our specific focus as part of the people and planet strategy around diversity, equity, and inclusion. And this is about our commitment to creating a diverse and inclusive organization that celebrates differences and enables people to feel like they can belong and bring their authentic selves. We respect and recognize and value and want to support the full diversity of the communities in which we operate, like Greensboro. One of the things that we've learned as part of our DE&I journey is our local connection between historical racial equity and poverty. So the United Way's bold goal around poverty and bringing people out of poverty really aligns very well with our DE&I focus. As part of our DE&I focus, we have an active DE&I advisory council, and we have a number of business employee resource groups, or BERGs as we like to call them, including an ethnicity BERG. All of our leaders have been through training with the Racial Equity Institute, which is one of the places we learned about this local connection between racial equity and poverty, and lots of other great sources. Like many companies, we recently celebrated Black History Month with leadership panel discussions featuring African American leaders and a Black Voices series with employee voices. So we're very fortunate to have a United Way campaign leadership team that's committed to this work around ending poverty in our community year-round, not just during campaign time, and also the full support of our CEO and our leadership team. And we have a really engaged and caring workforce that supports the work of the United Way as well. So with that, if there are any questions, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Scott.
Thank you, Michelle. That's awesome to hear. Appreciate all that you all doing and ITG doing in our community. So next, I'd like to transition over to Jana, and let's hear how United Way is aligned with Lincoln Financial's CSR.
Thank you, Scott, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to share about Lincoln Financial's commitment to corporate social responsibility. Good corporate citizenship is a principle on which our company was built, and we strive every day to carry on that tradition. We are proud to help enhance the quality of life in our local communities. And one key component, philanthropy, is in our DNA, and it's been modeled by our leadership since the very beginning. This spirit of philanthropy also led to the establishment of the Lincoln Financial Foundation in 1962 and has inspired a rich tradition of giving ever since. Our CSR strategy is built on our company values and the values of our namesake, Abraham Lincoln: honesty, integrity, respect, and a focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. These values influence how we conduct business, how we serve our customers, how we show up in our communities, as well as how we care for the environment and use our resources to improve the world around us. We use a number of programs to execute on our strategy. In 2022, Lincoln matched $1 million in employee gifts through our matching gift program. We reward employee volunteerism through grants to their charity of choice through our Lincoln Invest and Volunteer Experiences program. And through sponsorships of local events such as the annual speaker series hosted by the African American Leadership Group, which is chaired by Rashonda Harris from Lincoln. We also lead employee giving campaigns, including food drives to support our food banks, Read Across Lincoln, and our largest campaign annually, the United Way Workplace Campaign, where employees in our key locations have raised over $2.5 million in the past 3 years to support United Way's work to end poverty and create thriving communities. Our annual campaigns are an important tradition at Lincoln and are led by Lincoln leaders each year. Volunteerism is an integral part of Lincoln's culture, where employees give back to their communities by sharing their time and their talent, and Frankie Jones and many others. Our leaders serve as directors on local nonprofit boards, including United Way, where Heather Milligan stands on the shoulders of the leaders before her who have served United Way in this capacity. And the Lincoln Financial Foundation, investing over $9.2 million in grants and corporate contributions to nearly 300 nonprofit organizations in 2022. I was so proud to see many of Lincoln's grantees on the slide that Nadine showed earlier. One of these grants is a $250,000 grant to the United Way of Greater Greensboro for their mission to end poverty through the Family Success Centers, where we are not only an inaugural funder, but a proud employer of FSC graduates. Similarly to the United Way of Greater Greensboro, the mission of the Lincoln Financial Foundation is to strengthen and advance communities. We've cultivated unique partnerships with local nonprofit grantees who are keenly attuned to the needs of the people and places they serve. We work closely with these organizations to help them meet today's needs and prepare them for tomorrow. We do this through program funding, strategic guidance, and the use of data to measure outcomes and improve program effectiveness. We focus on 3 key areas: advancing ability and opportunity to achieve financial wellness, building strong educational foundations for children and youth, and supporting critical human service programs. You can see how closely aligned here we are with United Way strategy. We are very proud of our longstanding partnership with United Way of Greater Greensboro and our shared mission to empower individuals and families to build secure financial futures. Thank you, Scott, for this opportunity.
Well, thank you, Jana. We're so thankful for Lincoln Financial and the impact you guys have here. It's great to hear. So we'll transition over to Grant with Syngenta and hear from him.
All right, good morning. Appreciate the opportunity to be here today. For those of you who are not familiar with Syngenta, we're an agriculture company. We've been in the area about 40 years or so in different formats. And like many of the organizations represented here today, community giving and engagement is a really key part of what we do. We have about 750 employees here on site, and they have different degrees of emphasis. Some of them are global employees. Some of them have North American responsibility. Some have local responsibility, but our overall strive is for our employees to be aligned to our mission and our values. And some of them include ag education, nutrition, as well as hunger relief. So this is really core to our backbone, what we call part of our mission and values within our organization. And community responsibility is a key part of that. So for us, community engagement, sustainability, and equity, diversity, and inclusion are key pillars within those categories. And probably the thing that resonates most with United Way of Greater Greensboro with Syngenta is the model that it operates. I've not seen, nor have our employees seen, the model that is operated here in other geographies. And this is the one that is, I'd say, most compelling from the standpoint of the Family Success Centers, as well as the helping up campaign or concept. And that really has struck energy within our employee base, and it's reflected in many of the campaigns that we have. But similar to what Jana said, this is sort of an all year round activity for us. So we look at different ways of engaging and creating momentum. One of the key aspects of this momentum is not only do we have employee engagement, but we have leader engagement. And this is a critical aspect for any campaign, but most importantly, certainly with the United Way. And it is a way for us to get employees to be aware of the community around them, some of the opportunities to give back, and some of the challenging situations that families may have. But that way to give back allows us to engage with United Way, their efforts, and any of the stakeholders that surround that. So not only do we focus on employee gifts and corporate matching activities, but volunteerism to get people involved in the community has been really important for us. Fortunately, this year, we were recognized for that as well. We just recently were awarded the Spirit of NC Award, which was, we were nominated to be a part of that competition and were recognized for those efforts. So we wouldn't be able to do it without the employee base And it is though that energy and the willingness to be committed to this on an annual basis that really provides the success, but most importantly, helping the United Way Greater Greensboro achieve the goals that are necessary for them.
Grant, that's awesome. Thanks again. Syngenta continues to do great things for the community, and I think your comments around volunteerism, leadership engagement, all of those things are just so critical for all of us. Community works so much better when we're working together, for sure. So I want to transition over to Nikita with Cone Health next.
Thank you, Scott. I'm really proud of the work that we're doing at Cone Health. Also really proud to be a board member at the United Way of Greater Greensboro. Our work at Cone Health really lines up very nicely with the CSR efforts at the United Way. So as Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer at Cone Health, I want to start by sharing a little bit about an area that's near and dear to my heart, the pursuit of health equity. So that pursuit of health equity is really woven into everything that we do at Cone Health. Our DEI goals cannot exist without also addressing racial, ethnic, and neighborhood level health disparities that our communities are experiencing. So the Cone Health Center for Health Equity is spearheading efforts to identify those health inequities across the communities that we serve, and then develop the plans to address those. And so in many of our communities, Greensboro in particular, we're finding that if you drive as few as 5 miles from one direction and 5 miles in the opposite direction, the life expectancy can have a gap of as much as 15 years in just that short drive. And so this has inspired the center's effort to close those gaps in life expectancy by 5 years in 5 years. And we really couldn't do that without the support and the work of the United Way of Greater Greensboro, as it really works to end poverty by addressing social determinants of health like housing and education. We're also grateful that we've had the opportunity in the spring and the fall of 2021 to co-sponsor a challenge at the United Way to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion internally and externally. The 21-day Racial Equity Challenge, it really encouraged members of the public to participate, and nearly 800 people accepted that challenge. Participants received those 21 daily emails with content that included local and national resources that explored various topics like structural racism, segregation, privilege, gender, LGBTQIA rights. We also thought that it was very important to promote it to our 13,000 plus team members as an additional internal DEI educational and learning opportunity. There is definitely power in knowing. And in addition to being able to provide this 21-day challenge, we are also fortunate to have had over 90% of our team members take education related to implicit bias and the LGBT community. At Cone Health, we believe that cultivating connections through curiosity and conversation is really key to bridging differences. One of the ways that we do that every month is through our frank and open conversations we have on the Authentic Moments podcast, where we talk about equity, inclusion, and really just the richness in general that that diversity provides. So it's wonderful really to partner with the United Way to keep these conversations going in our community and at Cone Health. We're also really proud to partner with United Way Family Success Center, which supports community members who've moved out of crisis to help them with gaining stability and are ready for a career. So we've been extremely fortunate to have had 8 of those community members from the Family Success Centers join the Cone Health team because of the tremendous work that programs at the Family Success Centers are doing. Through partnership with the Family Success Centers, there are many stories we have with those team members like the one that you can see featured on the United Way's website. Mariah, who came to the Family Success Center without a GED, but thanks to the center, she earned her GED and a CNA certification and now works for Cone Health as a nurse tech. Through our congregational nurse program as well, Cone Health provides families at the centers with on-site access to a nurse practitioner, to health screenings and general health management services. So at Cone Health, really our brand promise is to be right here with you and to be right here with our community. For us is to transform healthcare. By donating nearly $550,000 to United Way in our 2022 campaign, over 10,500 lives were impacted by these donations, and we're honored to be a part of that work with United Way. We have so many more people to reach, but with partnerships like those that we have with the United Way, I know that we can become one where all people can thrive. We can have that community where people can thrive physically, socially, and economically. So we're grateful for this partnership, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to share why this is so important to us. And so with that, Scott, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Nikita. Wow. I mean, it's just awesome to hear the things that you guys are doing. We're fortunate to have Lincoln and ITG and Syngenta and Cone Health as part of our community for what you guys do with United Way and beyond. And it's just, we're really appreciative of that. So thank each one of you, and hope that I and my team can continue to build Town's legacy in a similar manner here in the community for years to come. So appreciate the insights and expertise. And many of you on this call, outside of our panelists, are doing the exact same thing, making inroads in our community. Y'all are here and attending because you have a concern for the community at large, and we appreciate that. And so now we'd really like to hear from you. So if you have a comment, question, or idea on how United Way might support your CSR, please submit that in chat or unmute yourself and feel free to comment verbally. This is an open forum. And so I know hopefully some of you are ready to ask some questions, and we'll do our best to answer them. So I'm going to open it up for Q&A. Again, you can enter a question in the chat, or you can raise your hand on the screen. I'm not really sure I know how to do that, but I think they can do little hand raises, or you can just unmute and ask the question. All right, Bernita Sims has raised her hand. Michael. Bernita, please go ahead.
Everyone else on the call, I'll start it off. I think if I break the ice, others will follow. What do you think?
I hope so.
Okay, so my question is that a lot of the work that we do sort of fits inside some of the wheelhouses that United Way has. And so as we're working with moving individuals from poverty to self-sufficiency, I'm wondering how we might be able to capture all of that data, not just from the work that United Way is doing, but with the work that's being done by others in the community to sort of paint a clearer picture of where we are in that space. And have we thought about how we do that? You know, how do we report out fully what is happening in Guilford County, and whether we're making inroads or not? I mean, what's the best way to facilitate that process?
That's an excellent question. I'm gonna, Nadine, do you have someone you recommend for on the answer on that?
I think, you know, you made a great point about the data collection, because really the data leads us to the picture. And if we're going to solve the picture, we have to look at data. I think it's got to be a collaborative effort with a lot of people. We are not good at data sharing. And so one of the things that we're trying very hard is to, why we picked the federal poverty line is because we had to have a starting point that everyone agrees on. And so that was the whole basis of, with our bold goal of moving someone over that line. Then as we look at how are we going to collect it? We are now working with all our partners and our initiatives to make sure that we're gathering the data that we can report out and with outcomes and really show the picture, because unfortunately we don't ask all the same questions. So trying to standardize, and then also working with our community partners, not just the nonprofits in the community, but also the city and the county. I mean, if we're really going to, solve the water problem, we all have to stay with the same metrics and standards and how we're going to talk about it. So you're exactly right. We don't have all the answers, but I think with our Guilford Success Network, we're working on having that kind of database that can really help us take it to the next level. But it's data is hard. And also gathering data and the platform to gather that data is expensive. And so, we are committed to working on that and working with our partners to try and bring everyone to the table so we can have real conversations, so we can really be very informative to the community on what's happening, what we need, and where we're falling short.
Okay, thank you. We'd be more than happy to share whatever data we have so that collectively we're really reporting out exactly what poverty looks like in Guilford County. And then the second, this is just a comment, but you spoke about the 69,000 individuals plus in Guilford County that are living in poverty. When we got that number, we kind of dug off into it a little bit to see what happened, because the prior year in the report, it was at about 82,000 people. That's a significant difference over a year and a half period. So when we looked at it, we found that because of some of the federal government implementation of CARES Act dollars and the amount of money that came into our community, they actually looked at some of those payments to individuals as increases in their income, which is a false positive, because we know that in a year's time, that number is going to go back to fairly close to what it was originally. So I think that we should be gauging how we do this work based on where we were in 2019, because that's really the truer number. This other number is not real. Of course, we did interject earned income tax credits and things of that nature into our community, but it did not change the level of poverty for individuals who received those payments. So I just want us to be sure that we're really looking at where we are. And 69,000 is a great number compared to where we were, but it's not a real number. So as we move forward in this work, I think we should really concentrate on what that's going to look like the next time those numbers are reported.
No, you are exactly correct, because that's exactly what happened. And when you look at data, you have to take your data, but we kind of are setting that everyone's going to say, oh my gosh, what happened next year? And it's going to go up because that money's not going to be there. And you are 100% correct.
Yeah. I want to point out, Tony earlier asked if we were also engaged in unsheltered problems that exist in the area, and we do have a basic needs focus that does address housing and shelter, and Michael did a good job of kind of showing a link to those. Jessica Ingram has asked, how can the companies that partner with United Way help support data collection? And I know we do collect some of that information today. But as Nadine said, data collection, I think that is an area where we can improve and also help be transparent and get as much of that communication out so that our partners and businesses can help support those efforts. I'll ask Nadine if you want to comment to that, but also I wanted not to put Julia on the spot, but I know Julia pulls a lot of data collection information in as well. And I don't know if there's anything that you may have to share. So
I'll go ahead and just start, because, Scott, you make a great point. Data is data, but it's how you collect the data and where you store it. And everyone has access to that data. And then when we ask the question, everyone's going to the real source. And so that's one of the things that we are investing in with the Guilford Success Network, is this data platform that we will then be able to capture those things. But I will be very honest with you, data collection and platforms like that are very expensive. Because not only is it just data collection, it's all that information that goes along with that. And then there's privacy and all these kind of things. So we're committed to doing that. But, and we are looking at investing McKinsey Scott funds into the GSN network just for that, because it is very expensive. And that's another reason why we need your support so much more, because it's not just the face of poverty, but it's everything that goes around poverty and trying to make that difference. And unfortunately, those are usually the very expensive part of a program or initiative. Julia, anything you want to add?
Sure. I think like specifically answering how the companies can help support beyond from a financial standpoint would be if you have data collection platforms or knowledge or expertise that your organization does, or if you have IT professionals or someone that wants to volunteer and help us think through the data collection piece of it, I see that as being the direct kind of support that companies and its employees can support us in that way.
That's great. Thank you, Julia. Mark Prince has a question. Mark, I'll open up to you. If you unmute yourself, you should be able to ask.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. In the spirit of triadism, what, if anything, have we done to work with the other United Ways, more specifically the High Point United Way, to take advantage of the synergies and together, if anything?
That's a great question.
Excuse me. So, United Ways are all individual 501c3s. So we're in a national network, but we're all individual. If you look at most United Ways website, you will see that when you go through all the wording, everyone's really looking at poverty in one way or another. We have great relationships with High Points. We share campaigns with them through the county and the city and Cone Health. So when there's ways that we can partner and not duplicate efforts, we do that. The CEO of High Point is a fabulous CEO, Jane. We are in contact with them a lot. Our staff mingle together and we share best practices. We will be presenting the school system a joint award because of their collective efforts. So yes, we do work together, but as I'm sure all of you know, collaboration is the key. And we need to all get much, much better about that and start looking at the bigger entity than our individual entities. So great question, Mark.
Yep. Any other questions?
I received a question in the chat asking about the use of NC Care 360. I don't know, Corinna, if you want to expand on that question at all.
Oh, hi. Yes, Karina, United Healthcare. Thank you for the time and great information today. I know that for especially the Medicaid population in Guilford County, that there are many already utilizing the NC Care 360 platform to look at closed loop for individuals that are in need of the social determinants of health. So my question was, is there thought to working more closely with them and expanding and leveraging the work that they've already done throughout North Carolina?
So yes, when we were setting up the GSN network, we have been in communication, working with them and looking at different things. So yes, we are in conversation with them, and we have been relying on them for some key things that are helping us along our way. So yes, we have.
Great, thank you.
Great. Michelle Duderman, I saw your hand raised. Do you have a question?
Yeah, it's kind of the question that I popped into the chat. First of all, a shout out to Michael and team for all of the great work on communications. And even with that, I find that so many people are not aware of the need in the community and the great work that's supported by the United Way. So what can we do to help with that? It always surprises me. Maybe, we don't get a newspaper anymore every day like we used to. So maybe news going on in our local community, I don't feel as in touch with, right, in today's world. So, what can we do to help here? And that's to Michael or Nadine or anybody.
Okay. Michael, I'll just say a few things and you can jump in here. communication with our investors, and if you remember our past CEO, he called a donor an investor. You know, how do we communicate with them and keep them abreast of what we're doing? The majority of our fundraising efforts are through the workplace campaigns, and workplace campaigns have changed dramatically. At one point, we used to get all the information about the employees. So we had their address and we had their emails. As time has changed, some companies don't even give us the names of their employees or do not give us information. So we introduced the car probably about 4 years ago to help and ask people to get, if you give us your personal information, we'll put you in this sweepstakes. One of the things that we recognize that we have to communicate with people and look at innovative ways to do that, whether that's through email, personal emails, or keeping them abreast quarterly, or having our message taken to the next limit. Because you're exactly right, Michelle. People have to know what we're doing. They have to understand what their dollars are going to, and if you're going to understand the bigger picture, you have to get the full picture and not just why we need money. So, you know, the more information that we can get about your employees through their personal email or through your company is very much appreciative. One of the things that Julia and her team has talked about is how do we get the ECMs, the information, the point of contact for the campaigns, their information to them, so they can then, in their internal ways, through their own networks and companies, showcase that information in a standard way that's that you all are agreed upon by your company parameters. So we just had a meeting with probably about 15 ECMs where they gave us a lot of great insight into what we need to do better, how they can help more, and to Michelle, to your point, exactly how to get that information back to the companies when we don't have information with the employees. Michael, anything you want to add?
Yeah, great response, Nadine. I would add, that year-round engagement is definitely key within the existing partnership and corporations. We're looking for innovative ways to crack that nut, so to speak. Part of that is, as Nadine mentioned, shared emails and things like that. But we're really ramping up our ongoing volunteer opportunities to elevate our work and engagement throughout the year, as well as this year we'll be developing and launching an advocacy agenda. We're going to be looking to the community and really all of you on the call today to help support that in some way. And it's going to be nonpartisan and all focused on helping our community. So there's going to be some really, I think, innovative ways that corporations and individuals can align with our work in the coming year. But specifically, Michelle, within the broader community as a whole, you guys and employees, and share your connections. If you have an idea, if you have a partnership possibility, or you think we should talk to someone, please let us know. And anything that you guys can do to align what we do with cause marketing efforts that help us make an impact in the community, we're open for those discussions.
That's a great answer, Michael. I will just share for town and on a personal level, as you learn more of what United Way's efforts are and the focus here locally. I know all of you on this call care about the community, wouldn't be here. So we appreciate that. We know a lot of you volunteer in a lot of different formats to make an impact. And I think one of the key strengths is transparency and coordination of all of the partners that we have engaged. And I think I'm really proud to be a part of what United Way is doing. As I have dug in more, I've felt more and more strength and reason why I want to be a part of it and assist in the ways I can. And the United Way team has heard me say this many times, but we had a complete stranger in Mackenzie Scott to our community recognize the need in our community is so great and put a tremendous amount of resources into the community to try to help do that through United Way and other means. And how much more so then should we who are here, locally engaged, living here, be active in what we're trying to do? It just kind of really was inspiring to see someone who isn't here, isn't as engaged, put those resources into our community. It just kind of reinforced to me how much more so us that are here wanting to do so. So I really appreciate all of you taking the time. I appreciate the transparency and openness and discussion. I can assure you, my dealings with this team, everyone here is trying to learn how to solve the greater problem. And so, like Michael said, ideas, thoughts, ways that you'd want to engage or share, please do so. It's not just our dollars. We need the dollars. There's no question about it. But it's the thought and the care and the labor that also matters just as much. And we got a team who wants to take that in and try to figure out how we can leverage that and pool all of our resources together to accomplish this. We got, I can think of how many times I came home tired from work and reading to my child when they were young at night. I can't imagine 2 full-time jobs, trying to keep up with everything, keep up with home, and still trying to do the things that you're trying to do to just benefit the next generation. And the effort we're doing is really important, and it has long-lasting impact on our community. So I just want to thank you all for taking the time. Michael, I'll end there and let you close us out how you wish. Or Nadine, any other comments from you as well?
Thanks, Scott, and thank you all. I will not admit this publicly as a woman who is in charge of all the fundraising. I would rather you come and be a volunteer so you can learn about what we do. If you and your employees learn about what we do, we will inspire you. We will make you part of this community and educate you on this problem, and you will want to get involved. Michelle said it greatly. We need your people to know what we do. Scott echoed it in saying, if you know about us, you'll love us. We do fabulous things in this community because of you. You've allowed us to raise the bar in the fight against poverty, and we thank you for it. But we have a lot of things coming up that you might want to take advantage of and share this information. Our young leaders, African American Leadership and Women United, are hosting a Friends United tonight here at the office from 5:30 to 7. And we would love for you to come. Please, drop in and see us. We are also pleased to be Ben & Jerry's nonprofit of choice once again for Free Cone Day on April 3rd. So everyone come out from 12 to 9 and get a free cone and learn more about what we're doing. Once again, we're excited that you've joined us today. We have our National Volunteer Week that's going to be April 17th through the 21st, and we have lots planned. We'll be sending lots of information out. I hope we inspired you today. I hope you feel good about what you have done to assist United Way in this community, and I hope you'll be inspired to do things in the future. So thank you so very much. If you have any questions that we haven't answered, please let us know, and we will get back to you. Once again, thank you, thank you, thank you, and have a fabulous day.
Thank you.